Have you ever noticed how the busiest moments of a day are often followed by the loudest thoughts at night? The schedule finally slows down, yet the mind seems to speed up. Many people experience this quiet irony. The more full their days are, the more crowded their inner world becomes. It can feel confusing, even frustrating, to rest physically while the mind continues to rehearse conversations, replay decisions, and imagine possibilities that never quite settle. Research suggests that a busy mind is not simply a sign of productivity, but a sign of constant mental engagement. When the brain is frequently switching between tasks, responsibilities, and expectations, it stays in a state of alertness. Experts believe this ongoing stimulation can make the mind more sensitive to unfinished thoughts. Every uncompleted idea, unanswered message, or postponed decision lingers quietly in the background, waiting for attention. Overthinking often begins as a natural attempt to bring order to this mental noise. The mind tries to organize, predict, and prepare. In everyday life, this might look like replaying a meeting to see if something was missed, or imagining future scenarios to feel more in control. These patterns are not signs of weakness. They reflect a mind that has learned to stay active because activity feels necessary. However, when mental busyness becomes constant, the mind may struggle to recognize when it is safe to slow down. Even during calm moments, it continues scanning for problems to solve. Many people find that their thoughts jump from one topic to another, not because those topics are urgent, but because the mind has grown accustomed to movement. Stillness can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. This helps explain why overthinking often shows up during quiet moments rather than busy ones. The silence creates space, and the mind fills it with everything it has been holding. From this perspective, overthinking is not an enemy. It is a signal that the mind has been carrying more than it has had time to process. You might gently notice when your thoughts become busiest. Is it during rest, late evenings, or moments of pause? Simply observing these patterns can reveal how closely mental activity follows the rhythm of your day. As we begin to understand how busyness fuels mental noise, it becomes easier to explore what the mind is actually seeking beneath all this thinking. A busy mind is often searching for rest, even when it doesn't know how to ask for it. When the mind starts looping through thoughts, it can feel as though it is working overtime without producing clarity. Many people wonder why thinking more rarely leads to feeling better. Instead, it often leads to mental fatigue. This raises a gentle question. What is the mind trying to protect us from when it keeps thinking? Experts believe that overthinking is closely linked to the brain's natural desire for certainty. In complex modern life, certainty is hard to come by. Decisions have long-term consequences, information is endless, and expectations can feel unclear. A busy mind responds by analyzing situations repeatedly, hoping that more thought will create more control. Research suggests that the brain evolved to anticipate potential threats. While this once helped humans survive physical dangers, today it often focuses on social, professional, or personal concerns. The mind may replay past moments to avoid repeating mistakes or imagine future outcomes to prevent discomfort. In this way, overthinking can feel protective, even when it becomes exhausting. In everyday life, this might appear as mentally rehearsing conversations before they happen or revisiting decisions long after they are made. The mind believes it is being responsible. Yet, the constant search for certainty rarely delivers peace. Each answer tends to open the door to another question. Many people experience this as a sense of being mentally on call, always ready to respond, evaluate, or fix. The mind struggles to rest because it equates rest with risk. Silence feels like leaving something unresolved. Over time, this pattern can make calm feel unfamiliar, even though it is deeply needed. Understanding this dynamic can soften self-judgment. Overthinking is not a personal flaw. It is a habit shaped by a world that rewards constant engagement and preparation. Recognizing this can create space for a kinder relationship with one's own thoughts. You might notice moments when your mind is searching for certainty. What kinds of thoughts repeat most often? Simply becoming aware of this search can feel quietly grounding. As we see how the mind seeks control through thought, the next layer invites us to explore how emotional energy quietly fuels this mental activity. The mind searches for certainty when the heart feels unsure. Sometimes overthinking does not feel logical at all. Thoughts return even when we know they are unhelpful. Many people describe this as feeling emotionally charged, as if certain thoughts carry more weight than others. This points to an important truth. Overthinking is often less about logic and more about emotion. Research suggests that unprocessed emotions can keep the mind active. When feelings such as stress, disappointment, or uncertainty are present but not fully acknowledged, the mind tries to make sense of them through thinking. Thoughts become a way to translate emotional discomfort into something more manageable. For example, a vague feeling of unease might turn into repeated analysis of a past conversation. The mind focuses on details because details feel safer than emotions. Experts believe this is why overthinking often centers around situations that mattered emotionally, not trivial events. Busy lives leave little room to notice subtle emotional signals. When feelings are postponed or overlooked, they don't disappear. Instead, they find expression through thought. Overthinking becomes the language emotions use when they're not given direct attention. This does not mean emotions are overwhelming or dramatic. Often, they are quiet and persistent. A sense of pressure, responsibility, or self-expectation can gently fuel mental loops. The mind keeps revisiting the same ground, hoping that understanding will ease the feeling beneath it. Recognizing this connection can shift how overthinking is viewed. Instead of seeing thoughts as the problem, they can be seen as messengers. They point towards something that wants to be felt, understood, or acknowledged on a deeper level. You might gently observe whether certain thoughts carry an emotional tone. Are they linked to care, concern, or meaning? Simply noticing this connection can bring softness to the experience. As emotions quietly shape our thoughts, it becomes important to look at how constant stimulation in daily life keeps the mind from naturally settling. Thoughts grow louder when emotions are waiting to be heard. Modern life rarely offers true mental quiet. Even moments of rest are often filled with screens, updates, and background noise. Many people experience a sense of mental fullness that never quite clears. This constant input plays a subtle but powerful role in overthinking. Experts believe that frequent stimulation trains the brain to stay alert. Notifications, multitasking, and rapid information flow keep attention externally focused. When stimulation suddenly stops, the mind doesn't immediately relax. Instead, it turns inward, filling the gap with internal activity. Research suggests that the brain needs transitions to slow down. Without them, mental momentum continues. Overthinking often appears in these in-between moments, such as before sleep or during quiet breaks. The mind, accustomed to constant input, creates its own stimulation through thought. Everyday examples are easy to recognize. Scrolling late into the evening, switching rapidly between tasks, or listening to content throughout the day can leave little space for mental digestion. Thoughts accumulate without being processed, waiting for stillness to surface. This does not mean stimulation is harmful. It simply highlights how little opportunity the mind has to settle naturally. When stillness finally arrives, the mind releases everything at once. Overthinking is less about creating problems and more about releasing stored mental energy. Understanding this can change how we relate to quiet moments. Instead of seeing them as triggers for overthinking, they can be seen as moments when the mind finally speaks after being busy all day. You might notice how your thoughts change when external noise fades. What tends to surface first? Observing this without judgment can be deeply informative. As we approach the end of this reflection, the final chapter brings these ideas together, offering a gentle perspective on living with a busy mind. When the world grows quiet, the mind shares what it has been holding. A busy mind does not mean a broken mind. Many people carry rich inner worlds shaped by responsibility, curiosity, and care. Overthinking, when viewed through this lens, becomes less of a problem to solve and more of a pattern to understand. Experts believe that awareness is often the first step toward mental ease. When we understand why the mind overthinks, its intensity can soften. Research suggests that simply recognizing mental patterns can reduce their grip, not by force, but through familiarity. A busy mind often reflects engagement with life. It thinks because it values outcomes, relationships, and meaning. Overthinking shows where attention and care naturally go. Seen this way, it carries information rather than failure. Many people experience moments when thoughts come and go without resistance. These moments often arise when there is no pressure to fix or control them. The mind settles not because it is told to, but because it feels understood. Living with a busy mind does not require constant correction. It invites patience and gentle curiosity. Over time, awareness can create natural pauses between thoughts. In those pauses, clarity often arrives on its own. This perspective does not promise silence or perfection. It offers something quieter, acceptance of the mind's nature. Overthinking may still appear, but it no longer defines the experience. It becomes one part of a broader mental landscape that includes calm, insight, and presence. You might gently consider how you relate to your thoughts. Are they enemies or signals? Simply holding this question can open space for ease. Clarity often arrives when thinking feels safe to rest. A busy mind is often a caring mind, shaped by modern life and human nature. By understanding its patterns, we create room for gentler awareness. There is no need to rush toward silence. Calm often emerges naturally when the mind feels seen. This content is for educational purposes only.